He walked humble streets, yet changed the world forever. Crowds followed him amazed by miracles and fearless words. He challenged priests, rulers, and kings with silent power. Whispers of his teachings ignited hope and dangerous envy. Some called him savior, others called him rebel. Every miracle sparked awe and political tension alike. He healed the sick, fed the hungry, and calmed the restless. Yet power feared the man who carried no sword. Friends betrayed him for silver coins under moonlight shadows. The night grew heavy as he faced false witnesses and lies. Crowds cried Hosanna, then hours later shouted, "Crucify." Nails pierced his hands and thorns crowned his brow. Blood fell in streets, once filled with joyous cries. Darkness covered hills as the earth trembled beneath sorrow. For 3 days silence ruled over an empty tomb. Yet rumors of resurrection began spreading in whispers. Some doubted, others claimed he walked among them alive. History wondered how one man could shake empires and hearts. His teaching survived violence, betrayal, and death itself. Generations followed seeking guidance, inspiration, and eternal hope. Art, music, and literature echoed his name across centuries. Kings and emperors claimed his words to justify power. Yet true followers carried love, mercy, and sacrifice forward. Faith grew where fear and cruelty once dominated. Even empires collapsed, his legacy refused to fade. The man from Nazareth became a timeless symbol of hope. He gave everything yet gained more than any crown could offer. Legends told of betrayal, sacrifice, death, and resurrection. Some whispered his return, others debated his human nature. Every story remembered is a testament to enduring influence. They once stood at the very top, but what happened next? Join the Hidden Billionaires to uncover their story. Jesus was born in humble Bethlehem in a simple home. His family was poor but devoted with strong faith. He grew among carpenters, learning woodcraft and patience. Childhood brought wonder at nature and questions about life. He listened to elders' stories of prophets and miracles. Early hardships shaped his resilience and deep compassion. Traveling families and local priests offered lessons in faith. He witnessed oppression under Roman soldiers and harsh taxes. This world of suffering sparked his vision for justice. He helped neighbors carrying water, wood, and small burdens. Even as a boy, he taught truth in synagogues with clarity. Miracles were whispered in small towns about his hands. The first big opportunity came as he was baptized in Jordan. John the Baptist recognized him and declared he was chosen. The experience ignited a mission beyond any earthly ambition. He embraced a path of preaching mercy, love, and service. Early followers noticed wisdom far beyond his youth. His roots in poverty, humility, and devotion defined his character. Every challenge strengthened his resolve to help others. By youth, he was ready to step into the wider world. Jesus left Nazareth to walk towns and villages. Crowds followed him, amazed by words of love. His voice carried truth that rulers feared and envied. He spoke simply yet challenged every authority and priest. Parables revealed deep lessons in ways all could understand. The sick, blind, and broken came for his healing hands. Thousands gathered as he fed the hungry with little food. Disciples left homes and jobs to walk with him. He calmed raging storms, showing authority over nature itself. Every miracle inspired hope and fear at the same time. Religious leaders watched quietly, plotting how to stop him. Roman soldiers heard rumors of his growing influence. He risked journeys and crowds to preach love and mercy. People listened to lessons of forgiveness over revenge. Even children followed him, learning courage and faith. He challenged temple leaders with quiet authority and wisdom. Questions meant to trap him were answered with insight. Stories of healing and compassion spread to distant villages. His fame grew not through wealth, but through acts of heart. Hope blossomed in hearts crushed by injustice and suffering. Crowds shouted Hosanna as he entered Jerusalem riding a donkey. People sang songs and laid branches in his path. He never took crowns, thrones, or riches for himself. His power came from connection to people and divine purpose. Enemies whispered fear while followers proclaimed his glory. Every sermon and miracle built his reputation and legend. His teachings called for justice, peace, and mercy for all. By age 30, he had transformed countless lives forever. Followers remembered his words and performed acts of love. Faith grew strong in hearts of poor and humble people. Even those who doubted felt something powerful in him. His courage inspired ordinary men to act beyond fear. Disciples became teachers carrying his lessons to others. Every town he visited became a place of hope. Miracles were remembered and told as proof of divine power. He walked roads others feared, showing bravery in action. He healed, comforted, and challenged all who came near. Even the sickest and weakest found strength by his side. Critics admitted his wisdom was unlike anything known before. He disrupted systems thriving on fear, oppression, and greed. Followers learned to love, forgive, and trust beyond logic. Stories of miracles, sermons, and compassion spread rapidly. Jerusalem welcomed him with songs and joy in streets. Palm branches lined the path, children danced around him. He refused worldly power, choosing service and sacrifice instead. Every day grew his following and drew scrutiny from authorities. Miracles impressed, but words carried weight stronger than deeds. His presence brought hope and courage to all around him. He showed love could overcome fear, suffering, and injustice. Disciples became messengers, spreading his teachings far and wide. He inspired kings, rulers, and common people alike. His climb was marked by courage, faith, and selfless acts. He reshaped hearts without armies, wealth, or political titles. Every healing sermon and act of mercy built his influence. By the end of his journeys, he was more than man. He became a figure shaping morality, belief, and hope forever. The world, watched as a simple carpenter, became eternal symbol. He showed mercy, courage, and love can surpass all power. The stage was set for betrayal, sacrifice, and ultimate destiny. Not everyone welcomed Jesus and his growing influence. Religious leaders plotted secretly to stop him completely. They feared his teachings threatened their power and wealth. The crowd that cheered him began to turn against him. Whispers of betrayal spread among his closest followers. One disciple agreed to hand him over for silver. False witnesses came to testify against him in court. He faced questions meant to trap him with lies. Roman soldiers mocked him, dressed him in cruel robes. Crown of thorns pressed down on his bleeding head. Nails pierced hands and feet under heavy wooden cross. Crowds watched, some in pity, some in harsh judgment. Even closest friends struggled with fear and confusion. Family felt helpless as he endured public humiliation. He carried the cross slowly through crowded streets. Every step was pain, but faith never faltered within him. He spoke words of forgiveness to those who harmed him. Darkness covered the sky as suffering reached its peak. Soldiers mocked his calm courage, unaware of inner strength. Cries of pain echoed over Jerusalem that day. He faced insults, spit, and relentless physical torment. The cross fell to the ground under his heavy body. Yet he rose again to continue carrying his mission. Even in agony, he offered hope to those nearby. The personal cost was immense, more than anyone could imagine. Family wept while enemies celebrated what seemed a victory. Every follower felt despair and fear of losing him forever. He breathed prayers into the heavens as life slowly faded. His spirit endured, teaching sacrifice and love beyond death. The reputation built through years of service faced trial. Yet his words of mercy echoed louder than nails and thorns. Some abandoned him, terrified of Roman punishment or scorn. Others remained, witnessing courage few could comprehend. The world saw a man broken by cruelty yet unshaken in heart. Trials showed that fame brought danger and enemies hidden in shadows. Even miracles and truth could not shield him from human betrayal. Pain became the ultimate test of faith and mission. Every insult, humiliation, and strike highlighted his resolve. Public judgment conflicted with private courage in every moment. The storm of betrayal shook disciples to their very core. Peter denied him, friends fled, yet loyalty quietly endured. Faith and courage persisted where fear and pain dominated. The cost of fame proved harsh for anyone so pure. He faced ultimate loneliness in public, yet remained steadfast. Even death became part of the mission he embraced fully. The story spread fast of suffering endured for truth and love. Even enemies could not erase the courage shown on that day. Whispers of resurrection began, promising hope beyond cruelty. Pain, betrayal, and injustice could not end the story entirely. The world began to witness the paradox of death and eternal influence. Even centuries later, the story of sacrifice inspires millions. He taught that fame carries storms, yet truth can overcome all. Every miracle, sermon, and act was remembered despite suffering. His followers learned that courage often demands ultimate sacrifice. Faith in love, mercy, and hope survived the harshest trials. Enemies plotted, crowds judged, yet his influence could not die. Pain became proof of devotion and unmatched commitment to truth. Even the strongest leaders could not crush spirit and vision. His reputation faced storm, yet legacy grew stronger in whispers. Every act of betrayal highlighted the depth of his courage. The cross became symbol of suffering endured and love eternal. History remembers not just the fame, but the price paid. Every follower carries lesson of endurance, hope, and mercy. Even after death, his influence spread beyond borders and time. The cost of fame was heartbreak, suffering, and mortal pain. Yet love, mercy, and faith proved stronger than human cruelty. Legends told of betrayal, agony, and courage beyond comprehension. Every moment of pain forged eternal legacy, remembered forever. After crucifixion, Jesus disappeared from public view for days. Disciples mourned, hearts heavy with grief and confusion. Fear lingered, yet whispers of hope began to emerge. Stories spread that he had risen from death alive. Mary Magdalene first claimed to see him standing before her. Disciples doubted at first, struggling to believe such news. He appeared to groups, teaching gently and offering guidance. His presence brought joy, reassurance, and renewed courage. Even hardened hearts softened in the wake of his return. He spoke of forgiveness and love, urging faith over fear. Every appearance reinforced his teachings and divine purpose. The resurrection became the ultimate proof of his mission. Disciples traveled far, carrying his lessons to distant lands. Communities formed around shared faith and stories of miracles. He prepared followers to continue work without constant guidance. Even enemies could not erase the memory of his words. He spent time teaching lessons that strengthened resolve and courage. Every encounter emphasized mercy, patience, and understanding. Once broken by betrayal, he now exemplified hope and triumph. He guided Peter, James, and John to lead with compassion. Faith spread quickly, inspiring both Jews and Gentiles alike. Journeys continued, yet he prepared disciples for absence. He spoke of spirit and heaven more than earthly matters. Miracles continued in subtle ways through his teachings and presence. Every disciple carried stories that inspired countless generations. The power of his life and return reshaped communities everywhere. Even those who opposed him felt the weight of truth and courage. He taught that faith could survive storms, betrayal, and death. Every teaching reinforced the importance of love above fear. Time passed, yet devotion to his message only strengthened. He walked among followers gently, offering encouragement and wisdom. The world felt change in hearts and lives wherever he appeared. Disciples became leaders, spreading message of mercy and hope. Every village and town recalled moments of his teaching and miracles. Even humble people gained strength and courage to act boldly. Life after the storm was marked by guidance, not power or wealth. Every act emphasized humility, service, and the enduring power of love. His influence spread quietly through conversations, prayers, and gatherings. Communities were built on lessons of peace, forgiveness, and hope. Every follower shared experiences that shaped moral and spiritual growth. He left behind teachings that endured longer than any empire. Faith became the foundation for new movements inspired by love. He continued inspiring courage through words, not through force. Even small acts of kindness reflected his enduring presence and wisdom. He showed the world how love could survive betrayal and suffering. Disciples documented teachings, ensuring future generations would remember. Every miracle story became symbol of hope and divine purpose. Life after the storm proved that truth and faith could not die. Communities flourished, guided by principles of compassion and mercy. Even centuries later, his teachings transformed hearts and inspired action. Followers embraced lives of service, learning, patience, and courage. Every conversation reflected lessons of humility, faith, and resilience. He walked quietly yet left a presence stronger than any earthly power. Life after hardship became testament to endurance, hope, and divine purpose. He reminded disciples that love always conquers fear and suffering. Faith spread from small villages to cities across the known world. Every act of teaching strengthened bonds of belief and courage. Even distant generations felt impact of his guidance and mercy. Disciples carried stories of resurrection, hope, and renewed purpose. Life after the storm became an enduring symbol of triumph over death. Every person touched by his teachings experienced hope and transformation. He showed humanity that even in absence, love remains eternal. Every lesson strengthened moral courage in the path of righteousness. Jesus left no children to inherit his mission in a family sense. Legacy passed through disciples who continued his teachings faithfully. Peter, James, and John became leaders shaping early Christian communities. Families of followers embraced faith, passing lessons to children. Stories of compassion and miracles became central to upbringing. Communities formed schools to teach his message of love and hope. Every generation learned courage, forgiveness, and mercy through his life. Disciples married and raised children in principles he had taught. Faith became a living inheritance shared through actions and devotion. Early followers traveled across regions, spreading lessons far and wide. Every town remembered him in prayers, festivals, and community rituals. His influence touched every family who embraced his teachings. Children learned stories of miracles, healing, and courage from parents. Faith united families, creating networks of support and spiritual growth. Even humble homes carried relics or symbols of his presence. His disciples recorded teachings to guide both young and old. Families found strength through service, prayer, and shared devotion. Generations studied parables, learning wisdom beyond age or status. His message inspired acts of charity care and community service. Followers built places of worship and learning for children and families. Every family became a guardian of his teachings and moral legacy. Even those far from Jerusalem felt connection through faith and story. Disciples trained others to continue teaching for decades ahead. Family networks became key in spreading hope and compassion widely. Children grew up emulating courage, patience, and mercy from elders. Every lesson emphasized love for neighbors, forgiveness, and humility. Faith communities celebrated his life through rituals and storytelling. Early Christians remembered his guidance in every act of service. Parents used parables to teach values and inspire moral courage. Families embraced his mission through helping the poor and needy. His legacy reached towns and villages through devotion and practice. Even centuries later, families worldwide continue sharing his teachings. Disciples appointed leaders to maintain structure and preserve wisdom. Every act of teaching strengthened family and community bonds. Children absorbed lessons of hope and faith from parents and elders. Faith shaped decisions, moral character, and life paths across generations. Families celebrated miracles as part of spiritual education and inspiration. Every generation contributed to preserving stories of his compassion. Legacy extended beyond bloodline through shared belief and action. Disciples taught respect, courage, and mercy to every child and adult. Faith became family inheritance, passed through stories, prayers, and rituals. Parents inspired children to live lives of service and moral courage. Communities thrived through teachings emphasizing love, mercy, and hope. Every household became a vessel carrying his message forward. Children learned courage in adversity through stories of miracles and endurance. Families maintained traditions honoring teachings, sacrifice, and compassion. Faithful disciples raised children in understanding of moral and spiritual truths. Every act of kindness, forgiveness, and service became part of heritage. Children became storytellers, teachers, and bearers of his message. Legacy shaped societal values, influencing culture, law, and morality. Even distant descendants of early followers preserved traditions of faith. Families embodied lessons of mercy, courage, and service in daily life. Every generation added depth to teachings through lived experience and devotion. Disciples ensured leadership succession to preserve spiritual and moral guidance. Children inspired by stories carried hope and courage into new communities. Faith provided family structure and purpose, centered on love and mercy. Every family gathering or prayer reinforced lessons of compassion and service. Legacy transcended biology through disciples, communities, and spiritual influence. Generations honored the life and teachings through daily devotion and action. Even today, families worldwide reflect principles he lived and taught. Children inherit lessons of courage, love, forgiveness, and faith from elders. His family legacy exists in hearts and actions of those who believe. Jesus changed the world with teachings that endure centuries. He revolutionized ideas of love, mercy, and human compassion. Every act of kindness and forgiveness became a model for humanity. Religious traditions grew from his teachings, shaping billions of lives. Christianity spread across continents through disciples and missionaries. Faith communities built schools, hospitals, and places of worship worldwide. His parables inspired art, literature, and philosophy across generations. Even secular thinkers acknowledged his moral influence and ethical guidance. Universities and institutions studied his life and lessons for centuries. His story became central to Western culture and global moral discourse. Followers created festivals and rituals to honor his life and mission. Every social reform drew on principles he emphasized through actions. Love, mercy, and forgiveness became guiding values for communities. Historical records documented both miracles and moral teachings. His influence extended beyond religion into education and ethics. Every generation continues to interpret lessons for modern challenges. His courage in the face of betrayal inspires leaders and activists today. Art, literature, and music celebrate themes of sacrifice and hope. Millions turn to his words for guidance in moral dilemmas. Even nations recognize his teachings and laws and humanitarian principles. Legacy became a foundation for debates about morality and justice. Followers learned endurance, patience, and faith through his example. Every act of service reflects lessons drawn from his life and mission. Philosophers and historians analyze the impact of his ethical vision. His life encourages personal transformation and societal betterment. Even skeptics recognize the profound influence on human values. Teachings of forgiveness shape reconciliation and conflict resolution worldwide. Every institution inspired by his life embodies hope and moral courage. Christianity's spread influenced language, culture, and governance. Art and literature immortalize his life in ways words alone cannot. Every charitable act echoes his emphasis on compassion and love. His ethical model shaped leaders, activists, and ordinary people alike. Even today, people draw strength from examples of patience and sacrifice. Legacy demonstrates how moral courage can outlast physical existence. Every story of his miracles reinforces hope in human potential and faith. Ethical principles continue to influence debates on human rights and justice. Universities study his teachings to understand history, philosophy, and religion. Every charitable organization embodies lessons of mercy and service. His moral courage inspires millions to confront adversity with grace. Even political and social movements reflect teachings of peace and fairness. Legacy bridges cultures, religions, and generations through universal values. Every faithful follower becomes a vessel carrying his message forward. Art, literature, and music preserve his story for future generations. He exemplifies how integrity, compassion, and courage leave lasting impact. Even scholars debate the depth and breadth of his influence globally. Lessons from his life teach about love, sacrifice, and resilience. Every act of moral courage today reflects echoes of his example. Faith communities continue traditions rooted in his guidance and words. Even centuries later, the world remains shaped by his teachings. Legacy shows how a single life can transform hearts and societies. Every believer and skeptic learns from stories of sacrifice and mercy. He remains a symbol of hope, ethical courage, and divine purpose. Even small acts of kindness carry traces of his influence in the world. Impact spreads through education, worship, and daily moral choices. Every institution, family, and individual touched reflects aspects of his legacy. Historical assessment sees him as both inspirational icon and cautionary tale. Every lesson in mercy, courage, and faith continues to inspire action. Media, scholars, and believers debate, discuss, and celebrate his life. His story teaches that love and truth outlast worldly power and fame. Even 10, 20 years after, influence remains powerful and transformative. Legacy proves that principles of kindness, justice, and compassion endure forever. Jesus of Nazareth remains timeless in history and faith. His life taught lessons about love, courage, and moral strength. Betrayal, suffering, and death could not silence his message. Faith, hope, and compassion became guiding principles for generations. He faced injustice, yet responded with forgiveness and patience. Even in absence, His teachings inspired devotion and moral courage. Disciples carried his mission to distant lands and diverse cultures. Every act of kindness reflected lessons drawn from his life. He showed that love triumphs over fear, hate, and suffering. Stories of miracles strengthened faith and encouraged resilience in humanity. He became a symbol of sacrifice and enduring moral authority. Even opponents could not diminish the impact of his teachings. Every generation interprets lessons to address contemporary challenges. Communities worldwide honor him through rituals, worship, and service. His message bridges divides, creating unity among diverse peoples. He taught that true strength lies in mercy, humility, and compassion. Every follower learns courage, patience, and faith through his example. Even small acts inspired by him reflect enduring moral influence. Faith becomes a living inheritance, passed through families and communities. He shaped ethical principles influencing law, culture, and social norms. Every scholar and historian studies his life to understand human values. His teachings encourage reflection, moral growth, and spiritual awareness. Even today, millions find hope and guidance in his words and example. Life shows that true legacy comes from inspiring love, courage, and virtue. He endured suffering, yet left a message that continues to transform hearts. Every story, parable, and lesson inspires action and moral reflection. Faith, hope, and love remain central to his timeless impact on humanity. Even centuries later, his influence shapes moral thought and spiritual life. He showed that the price of fame or recognition is not lasting. Enduring legacy comes from compassion, sacrifice, and service to others. Every believer and admirer carries forward lessons of courage and mercy. He remains an icon, teaching that morality and love define human purpose. Even ordinary lives can reflect extraordinary lessons of hope and guidance. Life reminds us that integrity, courage, and compassion never fade. His example teaches that failure, suffering, and betrayal can strengthen character. Every moral choice inspired by him honors lessons of patience and love. Faith communities embody his guidance through service, prayer, and teaching. Even small acts of mercy echo his enduring influence across generations. Legacy proves that love, courage, and moral integrity surpass worldly power. Every act of forgiveness and kindness carries traces of his life and mission. He teaches that human potential is greatest when guided by moral truth. Even in a complex world, his lessons remain simple, powerful, and clear. Life of Jesus demonstrates that enduring impact comes from selfless service. Every generation finds hope, courage, and inspiration through his example. He remains a guide, showing that love and faith overcome fear and suffering. Call to viewers: if you found this story eye-opening, subscribe and stay tuned for more hidden truths from the world's richest.